All right, so we're going to multiply and divide rational expressions. The nice thing about division is you're never going to do it. So when we get to that, you'll be excited because all you're doing is multiplying rational fractions. You don't have to divide. So we have to think back, how do we multiply fractions? Do you know, like my 7th period, they all had like different answers. How do you multiply fractions? Do you remember? Good. Yeah. You do it across the top, so top to top and bottom to bottom. And you don't have to have a common denominator. You just multiply straight across. So we multiply them top to top and bottom to bottom. Straight across. So on the top one, what are you going to get? Good. Can you reduce that? Yeah. How do you know? They're both even, right? So they're both divisible by 2. Can you reduce it any further? No. Okay. So the thing that makes this assignment exactly like the notes that we just looked at is, if you think about it, it's really just 3 times 10 over 4 times 11, which is all we're going to do when we work these problems. We're going to say all of that's on the top because it's multiplied. Okay? Because that's the same thing as what we just did, right? I could even stop here and kind of use what we were doing and say that 4 and 10 are both even. So I could reduce this one to 5 and reduce this one to 2. And then I would still get 15 over 22. And it's already reduced. Okay, so it's kind of like building on what we've been doing. Multiplying is the same thing as what we just did when we simplified a rational expression, because it's all on the top. Okay, so we're going to factor, but then like what Brett was asking on our other notes, he said, can I cross off something that's on the right on the top with something that's on the left on the bottom? Yeah, you can, because all this is multiplied in a list. You know what I mean? So you do have to factor it, but I'll show you after we factor it how we can cross off. So I have to look at the 4 things separately. So I have 2 more things than I did before. If you look at 3x plus 6, what's your greatest common factor? 3. So I would have 3 times x plus 2. God bless you. The 12x I can't really do anything with. And then I have multiplied, but even if I just put these parentheses right next to each other, it means multiplied. So it's all going to be either on the top or on the bottom. So now we need to look at x squared plus x. Does it have a greatest common factor? X. So if I factor out x, I'm going to get x times x plus 1. Okay, how about the bottom? It's a perfect square. It multiplies to make positive 4 and also adds to make positive 4. 2 and 2, so it should be x plus 2 times x plus 2. And you can still make the cross puzzle if that helps you. You know what multiplies to make 4 and adds to make 4. And you're going to have your 2 and 2, so you can set up your factors. So because it's all multiplied, you can cross off this x plus 2 with one that's in the denominator, as long as you have something in the top and the bottom. So I'm allowed to do that. One in the top, one in the bottom. Because they're all in the top. Because we multiply fractions across. It's just a list of things that are multiplied. Okay? So I have some other things I can cross off. I can reduce, because these are just multiplied, 12 times x. I can reduce the 3 and the 12. So 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. You can also cancel out these single x's that are on the outside of parentheses, because they're all by themselves. So now you would just write what you have left. So what you have left is your x plus 1 in the top. And on the bottom, you have a 4, and you have x plus 2. And that's it. Questions? Okay, let's factor the next one. So x squared minus 16, it's a special case. How do you factor that? Good, x minus 4, x plus 4, you can put them in whichever order you want. By Tanis, you can take the square root of both. They're separated by subtraction, so that's the difference of squares. You should recognize that one as the difference of squares. Okay? Okay, how about on the bottom? This is nice, it's not swing method. So what multiplies to 1 times negative 40 and adds to make 6? 4 and 10? And 4 is negative? You think? Okay, so we have x minus 4. And again, look around your problem. You're going to see things that match. See, I can already see a match. Okay, so in addition to that on the top, I've got to factor this. That one's kind of weird. How should I factor it? It doesn't have 3 terms. It's not the difference of squares. Divided by x, yeah, it has a greatest common factor. So this will be x times x plus 10. Okay, which I'm starting to see things should match. Right, on the bottom, it's not swing method. That's kind of nice. What multiplies to make 1 times 4 and adds to make 5? 1 and 4, good. So on the bottom, my factors are x, oops, forgot the 4, x plus 1 times x plus 4. Okay, so now the fun part. Everything on top's multiplied. Everything's on bottom's multiplied. So you can cancel out on either side, as long as you have a matching top and bottom. So what am I going to cancel out? Good, x minus 4 and x minus 4. X plus 4 and x plus 4. Anything else? And what do you have left? Okay, so am I allowed to go like that? No, right? You can't do that. You're not allowed to reduce that way. Okay, so that's your answer. You got to save the kitten, right? Okay, there's one more problem, but this is the beauty of this assignment, because I think it's exactly like the last one you did, is it's division, okay? But we never ever divide. It says, how do you divide fractions? You don't. You don't, right? You never, ever, ever divide, because what do you do instead? You multiply, which you already know how to do because we already did it. So how do you change it to a multiply problem? You keep, change, oh wait, I wrote it the wrong way. You keep, change, oh no, eraser. Keep, change, flip. And so people get on me because I'll say, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. And they're like, no, it's not in that order. And I'm like, well, you can just still write it that way. It helps people remember to have stupid things that help you remember. You keep, change, flip. Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? So what does it mean I keep? What do you keep? You keep the first fraction exactly the same. So 3/8. What do you change? No. Well, kind of. It's an operator. You change division to multiply. Okay, so it's not really a sign, but you change division to multiply. And then what do you F? You flip. Right? So you just multiply by the reciprocal. All it is a fancy way of saying multiply by the reciprocal, right? And then you multiply top to top and bottom to bottom. Okay? It works exactly the same with these rational expressions. So your only job is to notice that that's divide and rewrite your problem as multiply. So I'm flipping the second fraction. there. You've conquered divide. You don't have to know how to divide because you don't divide. You multiply. You just have to know to flip the other fraction. Okay? So that's kind of cool because you already know how to do it. So what do you do first? There's two things you have to do. Factor, cancel. Factor, cancel. That's all you have to do. So we can't factor 8x. Can you factor 14x minus 7? Yeah, it has the greatest common factor, which is 7. Okay, on the other side of my fraction, can you factor x squared minus 9? That one's not bad, right? It's a special case. It's the difference of squares. It's x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, so when you see that you can take the square root of both and they're separated by subtraction, it's the difference of squares. That top one, you're going to have to make a cross puzzle, right? So what multiplies to 2 times negative 3 and adds to make 5? 6 and negative 1, good. And so I'm just going to write it right here because we're not done with it yet. Because I can tell because it has a 2 in the front, it's a swing method, which means I have to divide by the a value and then reduce and swing. So the first one's going to be x plus 3, and the second one is 2x minus 1. So we'll go ahead and write that one on top, x plus 3 times 2x minus 1. And now you get to cross stuff out. So what you going to cross out? X plus 3. Boom. 2x minus 1. Can you cross anything else out? Nope. So you're left with 8x over 7 times x minus 3. Okay? So what do? Two things. What do? For divide, you keep change flip. And then to do these, you factor, cancel. Okay? What do you think?